Today, let's talk about one of the most controversial topics, abortion. Let's take a step back and ask ourselves, are all Catholics called to be pro-life? And why are we pro-life? Well, let's take a look to what the Catechism tells us. In paragraph 2270, it states that human life must be respected and protected absolutely from the moment of conception. From the first moment of his or her existence, a human being must be recognized as having the rights of a person, among which is the inviolable right of every innocent being to life. And if we also refer to paragraph 2274, which states that since it must be treated from conception as a person, the embryo must be defended in its integrity, cared for and healed as far as possible, like any other human being. Now, what is sad is that common sense does not hit any individual, and I will say this with all honesty, as my opinion as well as of others, when I say that much pro-choice individuals can be, their choice is for their selfish needs the majority of the time. To be pro-choice is to be so with the intent of looking out for your freedom, your rights, as well as those of others in your community. If I choose to stand for my own right and to not care of the rights of others around me equally, then what purpose does this serve humanity? What do you think caused the injustice with whites and blacks when the blacks had their rights and freedoms restricted? What about the rights of the slaves that were bought and sold for a price, when life of a human being is priceless? There's no particular dollar amount you can put on a human being since their lives matter. And the moment you do so, you have caused a major injustice to humanity. What about those whales and the animals that you find so many people speaking out for their rights on campuses, in your local grocery store? Well, if the human life is that much more precious, then by all means, let's not leave out the most precious and innocent of all the lives of the unborn. If we can agree on one thing as a whole, is that all human beings are equal. All have value, right? How about those poor kids in Africa or the kids in the slums across the border in Mexico? Should they not have the same benefits and rights as any child here with so-called freedom and amenities as we have in the United States? If a child is sick or in need, don't we all, as humanity calls us to do, run to their aid? Children from all these three backgrounds I just mentioned have one thing in common. They are all equal human beings who have the right to life and the right to be treated the same. Well, what about those children that are born alive in unfortunate abortion procedures? A big argument is being said for them whether they should receive supportive care or be left alone to die in what we call a so-called clinic, where so-called health care is trying to help a woman in need of having that procedure, completely ignoring the rights of that pure and innocent child that is now out of the womb, that has no say in how we as inconsiderate and selfish mothers, or rather human beings, can be. I can speak for this myself, as I'm about to give birth to my firstborn. My husband and I have been praying for this blessing, or rather this grace from God. And when we found out we were going to have a baby, obviously, I felt nothing in my stomach for the initial weeks. But the moment we had the first ultrasound and saw that pure and innocent life growing inside of me, I can't tell you how amazing that feeling was. Super overjoyed to know that I will be growing my baby inside of me. From the first ultrasound, to hearing the heartbeat, to seeing that child of mine grow inside of me, and then with the anatomy scan, how about the bouts of hiccups I feel by her? How on earth can someone say that this is not a life, not a human being? Life definitely starts in the womb. Better yet, it starts at conception. I kid you not, I know I will speak for many mothers out there. The initial instinct was, how can I help my child grow inside, as well as how much can I protect her, is always on my mind. The moment you find out you are pregnant, You as a woman are a mother. There's no other way to describe it or even label it. A child is growing inside of you, whether you label that child as a tissue, as an embryo, or actual baby, you are a mother, period. For this fact alone, I don't know how any one woman, rather mother, would have the courage and the guts to end the life of the one they are given as a gift to protect. So if a child is born alive in an abortion procedure, that child should receive supportive care. All human beings have value and deserve life-sustaining care. Let's look at a bit of stats, why don't we? Just for the heck of it. For an abortion, cost is around $500 for each one that takes place. So imagine how many abortions take place in a year, times that by $500. 45% of women getting an abortion are actually doing this for the second time. 46% of abortions performed are women under the age of 25, with 12% of those being adolescents, 35% being aged 20 to 24. What's even more sad is 64% of abortions are simply committed because the father of the baby does not want the child and the mother is coerced to get an abortion. Where's the rights of that woman? Where's the support that should be given at that point? Put otherwise, a fourth of women by the age of 40 have had an abortion. Also, did you know that about 3,000 abortions take place each day? You have to ask yourself one question, and truly think of it before you answer. But does a preborn human being have the right to not be killed in the womb? How different is this killing than if the parents have seen or heard this child outside of the womb? I'm sorry to put it so bluntly, but what is not seen by the naked eye, like a dog carrying a puppy, or an endangered species of some animal carrying a child of their own, is not seen, but imaging and ultrasounds will give you a good depiction of their existence. And they matter. Then how much more would a human life matter? Well, you can refer to studentsforlife.org or even the CDC for even more statistics, as well as more information on this topic. Also, please do look up and follow two of my most greatest women I know that advocate for the unborn, Lila Rose and Kristen Hawkins. I would hope that after hearing this, every woman would just put all this into consideration in trying to understand what being pro-life actually means to those of you who are. God bless you and guide you to understanding the meaning of life and the value of it. Please remember to like, follow, and share.